In today's clip, we are going to discuss Prismacolor wax-based and Faber-Castell Polychromos oil-based pencils. We're going to compare the pros and cons of both pencils, and hopefully by the end of the clip, you'll be able to make a decision about which pencil is best for you, or whether you just need both sets. At the end of the clip, there is a money-saving tip that will help you, especially if you are on the beginning of your journey and struggling with your decision on purchasing this set of pencils. One of these sets is not necessarily better than the other one, but one may be better for you. So take notes of the pros and cons throughout the clip to help you with your decision and see which one applies to you. The difference between Prismacolor and Faber-Castell is that Prismacolor is made with a wax-based binder and Faber-Castell is made with an oil-based binder. The binder is what holds the pigment or colour within the wooden casing to allow the colour to flow, and this is how each of the materials affects the functionality of each of the pencils. Another physical difference of the Prismacolor and Faber-Castell is that Prismacolor has a soft lead, whereas Faber-Castell has a hard lead. This means that when you are using them, there are vast differences between the physicality of the pencils. Sometimes the Prismacolor pencils, if you sharpen them too much, they can break. I'm going to give you a demonstration now of how to sharpen the pencils, and this may help you with your choices and also with the future care of your pencils. So I have here burnt sienna and sienna brown of each of the Prismacolor and Faber-Castell pencil to do a comparison. And I have here first the Faber-Castell. As you can see, it has quite a wide pencil barrel and it's sealed at the end, which is a really nice quality touch for the pencil. And the feel of the pencil is really high quality. Here I have the Prismacolor. As you can see at the end, the pencil lead isn't completely sealed and it looks like it's coming away a bit from the pencil wood. So that's a bit disappointing, and it's a bit thinner than the Faber-Castell pencil. I'm now going to go on to explain why I sharpen the two brands of pencils in different ways. The first pencil, the Faber-Castell, I'm going to sharpen with the Derwent Superpoint manual pencil sharpener. And the reason I'm sharpening the pencil in this way is because I want to get a really sharp point, and it's a hard lead. If I sharpen the Prismacolor in this way, the lead would break very quickly. So you can see there's a nice sharp point. I'm now going to show you how I sharpen the Prismacolor in a different way. So for the Prismacolor, I'm using a T-Gel, I think it is, or T-Gal pencil sharpener. I've set it to 1, and you can set it to different settings for different pencils. I found this pencil sharpener really useful. When I first got my Prismacolors, I was using the Derwent pencil sharpener, and I very quickly found out that that was a mistake because the leads were breaking. So I then bought this one, and it's been much better, and my Prismacolors are lasting me a lot longer. So this was a really good investment, and I would recommend that if you're buying Prismacolors, you buy this pencil sharpener or one of a similar make. Prismacolor are known for their rich saturated pigments which make their pictures vibrant, whereas Faber-Castell are vibrant but maybe not as much as Prismacolor. So when it comes to colour range, both companies have a really good range of colours, with Prismacolor having a set of 150 and Faber-Castell having a set of 120. Now I have an approach to this which I will share with you later that could save you quite a lot of money. Because Prismacolor is a wax-based pencil, it can have what's called wax bloom, where you can have a build-up of wax on top of your shading, especially if you've been adding lots of layers, whereas Faber-Castell, because it's oil-based, does not have wax bloom. Unfortunately, though Prismacolor have bright, vibrant colours, they are not very light fast, which means that many of their colours will fade. However, Faber-Castell have a very good light fastness, and only a few colours will fade, which means they are a very good pencil if you are thinking of selling your work. It seems that the price of both Prismacolor and Polychromos have gone up in the past few years. Prismacolor has gone up to $79.99 for a set of 72 and $83.49 for a set of 60 of the Polychromos. It's worth shopping around. I have prices for or links to Amazon in the description below, so if you wanted to find out how much they are in your country, click on the links in the descriptions below. So now we come on to white pencils, which I sometimes use to blend all of the colours together and for highlights. Now it's really important to me that the white pencil is opaque, because if I wanted to add a highlight on top, it would need to be opaque to stand out. The one in the Prismacolor is incredible, and I've never used a white pencil like it. I have to say though, I have gone through one white pencil in 5 recent drawings, so I do use them a lot. So I have a backup now because I use them so much. I was really disappointed with the Faber Castell. I did order a white and black pencil because I wanted to use them for details, and the white one was awful. It's very translucent and you can't use it on top of dark colours. I would recommend that you use a Prismacolor one on top of Faber Castell if you're choosing those, because then at least you will see it on top of your dark colours. So the first demonstration that I'm going to do is layering. For all of the demonstrations I will be using Strathmore Bristol smooth surface paper, and I'm going to start with layering 3 colours, which again I'll be using the same 3 colours for all of the demonstrations that I'm doing today. I found that both of the pencils were pretty similar for the layering demonstration, and they blended well from the dark to mid to light tone. The transition was fairly straightforward, and I found that they both blended really well. The only difference really in that they both blended really well and they were soft, but I would say that the Prismacolor was slightly creamier, but that's the only difference. So now on to burnishing, and just to explain quickly what burnishing is, it's when you are shading the area of the paper and you want to cover all of the white gaps on the paper. Sometimes when you're shading, when you've shaded the area, there's some little white gaps left, and that ruins the realistic effect and the surface, and you want to cover those areas. So what you need to do is to apply more pressure with your hand and your wrist to cover that area and to get rid of the texture of the paper. So I've added 3 layers, and I have used burnishing recently because I've been doing some animated characters and I wanted to create a smooth effect, and I layered up about 3 or 4 colours. I used Prismacolor because it worked really well. I found sometimes at Faber Castell, because the pencil's harder, it doesn't work as well, especially with the last layer, because sometimes that will be the darker colour or sometimes it will be the lighter colour, and it will really show that it's not blending as well. It does work well, but not as well, and doesn't have the edge that Prismacolor has. So you can see here I'm applying the brown and it's just not going on as well as the Prismacolor did. So in this section of burnishing, Prismacolor has the edge and it's a slightly better pencil. So now on to solvent. Now for those of you that don't know what solvent is, it's a liquid that can blend the pencil to create a smooth effect. It's very good for skin tones particularly. If it's something that you've never used before, please click in the descriptions below. There's a good brand that I use and it's not as toxic as some others. Now on to the way that it worked with both of these pencils. I found that it worked with both brands particularly well. It created a smooth effect. I only had to apply 1 layer and it worked really, really well to create the smooth effect that I wanted to achieve. So now I'm going to show you what it's like adding details with both of these pencils. I've ensured that I've made them really sharp. I've sharpened them already for this particular test because obviously if I'm adding details they need to be sharp. Now I found that when I was adding details with the Prismacolor they started to crumble. You can see little marks here. I've had to use my paintbrush to sweep the little marks out of the little crumbly bits out of the way. So that was quite disappointing. Well, I knew that would probably happen anyway because it's something that I've experienced before. So it wasn't really a great surprise because it's a soft pencil. That's something that you would expect. Faber Castell, it was quite a different story. The lines were sharper because it's a harder pencil. So that's something that I would expect from Faber Castell. You can add the lines, they're much sharper, much detailed. So if you're looking to achieve detail, then the Faber Castell is probably the pencil for you. So I hope by now you're starting to make a choice and start to think about which brand of pencil will work best for you. It may be that you are thinking about 2 brands because there are elements of both brands that suit your style of work. For me, I am now thinking there are several brands. These are my two main brands, but there's another brand which I'll come onto in a later video that suit my needs. So because of that, it may be that you need to start thinking, if you're a beginner, of buying both brands of pencils. And this is what I'm going to come on to in this clip. So if you're thinking about buying two brands of pencils, it may be that you need to start thinking about, okay, if I need both brands of pencils, how am I going to get around that big cost price? So if that's the case, firstly, there are several options. The first option is you could buy two smaller sets, or you could buy the colours that you need individually, which is an option. They are fairly inexpensive. You can either buy them via Amazon, but I have found recently the price of Prismacolors has gone up in price. So if that's the case, what you could do is you could buy them from other companies. I've bought recently Prismacolors from a company that I think are in the US, but they're also in the UK, called Jackson's, and they've been very reasonable. And what I've been doing is I've been putting them in this pencil case that I found very useful, because before I create a piece of work, I like to assemble my colours, and I found that the Prismacolor tin was very difficult to manage. I was really worried about the pencils falling out of the tin when I was putting them in and out, so I found this pencil case really useful. The links are in the description below if you wanted to purchase something like this, or I'm sure there are other ones on Amazon, but I found this really useful. Because I've bought this pencil case, I can now buy my Faber Castell and other brands individually, put them in here, and then I don't have to worry about buying that large tin. So if you're thinking about starting off and buying your Prismacolor and Faber Castell individually, there are, as I say, the option of looking at buying your Faber Castell individually to suit your palette. So say for example you're thinking about portraits, you can look at portrait palettes, or you could start with a tin of 12. At the moment there is a really good deal on Amazon for an anniversary set of Polychromos. They're £13.33 for a set of 12, and the reason that they are £13.33 is because they are a shorter length of pencil. If you are starting out and you're not sure about whether you want Faber Castell or not, I think this is a really good opportunity for you to start using the pencils and finding out if they are for you. If you've got value from today's clip and you've enjoyed looking at the pencils, then make sure you check out more clips like this in the pencil playlist. Don't forget to look in the description below for details of products used in today's clip, and if you would like to tell me which pencils you have had success with, please tell me in the comments below. Finally, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future content.